Hello there, it's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, where today we are going to cover the final lunation of 2020, the Cancer full moon, taking place on December 30th, Universal Time, and December 29th in the Americas. Now, this full moon takes place in Cancer at 8 degrees, which ties in beautifully to our universal year 2020, which adds up to 4. 4 and 8 are unique because they create a unit that describes destiny. So this full moon happens right at the end of the year and covers the first couple weeks of January, because lunations have at least a 2-week impact. And so that means there's going to be situations that will feel destined, that will really arise from the core of coming home to ourselves or realizing the importance of Cancerian qualities, love, nurturing, not going into a shell, that's the shadow side, not running away, but confronting whatever is happening in your life through the lens of compassion. And so this will be a momentous time for so many reasons. There's an incredible numerology code as well that is activated on December 30th, 2020, which we'll cover. There's a T-square with Chiron, which really helps with the incredible healing impact that Cancer also brings. And Venus square to Neptune as well, both very divine feminine planets. Cancer is a very feminine sign, a water sign, so there'll be a beautiful segue into that sense of trusting your intuition and really honoring silence and meditation in your life. Now, this forecast is for everyone. You don't need to be a Cancer to benefit from the lunation forecast, because somewhere in your natal chart is Cancer, and it covers a house. We have 12 houses, we have 12 signs, and so you are impacted by every lunation every month. We have a full moon and new moon every month. So we're going to cover all the planetary transits, the meanings, and let's start with Cancer. Cancer is very private, so when we have an acceleration of Cancerian energy, a deepening of the Cancerian meaning, we crave more emotional security. So this lunation happens during our holiday season. And so we will already be home. We are now starting a new paradigm of, well, where is my home? What does home mean to me? Does it actually mean the family I'm born into? Or does it encompass something entirely different? Home is where the heart is. That's Cancer for you. So we are coming into that time now where Cancer is nurturing new beginnings, new growth, empathy, everything coming from the heart, from a place of feeling intimate, from feeling, and feeling is the key word here, because Cancer really, Cancer is governed by the moon. The moon is about our feeling state. And so feelings are going to be heightened. So feelings of feeling vulnerable, feeling intimate, feeling loving, caring, your mood, anything that's tender. It's basically an embrace of the mother, because Cancer, the moon, is the side of our life that is governed by mothering energy. So to have these other transits, which I'll go into, between Neptune and Venus, for example, activated during this final lunation of 2020, is showing us that we're moving from a very rigid year, which literally was about locked down, being in a box, which is the 4 universal year. We're now moving into a very fluid energy. We're moving into a 5 universal year, days after this full moon. And there's a lot of flexibility and openness and desire for freedom, feeling free to love whatever comes up for you, right? So this is really a big moment of looking at, well, how was I interpreting security, emotional security before? Was it by feeling clingy, possessive, manipulative, being too cautious, not moving forward when I needed to own what was going on with me, set boundaries when needed, be open when I felt intuitively engaged. Being too cautious is something that the shadow side of Cancer does. And that's why there's the crab, the shell, where you can sort of hide and, remove yourself from moving forward or dealing with a situation. So we're looking at those feelings. All of those, and the shadow side feelings are the ones that help us move forward freely, because we have basically healed and purged and released those internal unseen drivers, those emotions that are preventing us from moving forward with absolute joy and feeling free to just address what needs to be addressed in the most loving way possible. So what prevents that? So being afraid of rejection, for example, lacking clear goals, whether they're short-term or long-term, just having something in mind that is inspiring, motivational. So we want to move during this time into nurturing our heart. And when we do that, when we do self-care and nurturing, which is so important during Cancer, our inner strength is renewed and revitalized. And that allows us to just be present in the way we need to in any given moment. So what's important during any Cancer event? Taking time out to be quiet. It is a water sign, so it craves meditation, so you can be in tune with the flow of life. And doing that daily in a space in which you feel safe. That's the key word with Cancer, is feeling safe to receive, to be vulnerable. And during that time, the nudges and reminders from your guides, from Source, can help bring attention to be aware that you are a spiritual being. So to be aware that you're just temporarily in this body, in physical form. And when you place attention on your own spiritual development, your spiritual essence, you get a passionate interest in the true purpose of your life on earth. And this leads to a sensitive inquiry. Cancer is so sensitive. So the sensitive inquiry can go very deep, because you are literally listening with your senses, sensitive. And your being where love permanently resides, which is in that openness, that willingness to explore with all your five senses, right? And so the five senses are, of course, the earthly embodiment of being in human form. And then the ability to perceive, perception, intuition is the connection that you are spiritual, which drives everything, which is there all the time. It just needs to be acknowledged. Because we're encouraged from a very young age to do things, to be in a doing way, right? And we are not encouraged to just be available to be quiet, and which is beingness, right? Just to be, just to receive, just to listen. And so what's important, especially when we're young, and that we can take now into adulthood, is daydreaming, listening to nature, closing your eyes. So many cultures encourage kids to engage in nonstop activity. Allow your body to grow and develop, move around, all of that. You have so much energy as a child. But it leaves very little time for reflection when that's all that happens. Children need regular time periods when they're not running around, when they can reflect on what's actually happening to them. And as adults, we are all children. We're always learning. We're growing all the time. That makes us childlike. And this is the sense that we need to always tune into during these times of tremendous responsibilities and having to adhere to certain structures and forms that are now being stripped down. We need to be childlike. We need to explore with our senses what feels right. So in order to do that, we want to take those time outs to discover those immense inner experiences, that inner space, right? And daydreaming is so important for that. Just to lie down and look out the window or look into a fire or start reading a book and allow it to take you somewhere. You put the book down and you're just daydreaming, being in the shower or bath, whatever it is, lying in bed, whatever the case may be, taking a walk. And when you engage, especially in something that's loving, so lovingly with your environment, engaging with people in a loving way, with honor, respect, and love, that is when the intuition and the daydreaming truly take you on a new journey of discovery, of seeing that love is your nature. So to spend time contemplating your true nature, which is love, which is your divine nature, it strengthens you, it inspires you, and it leads to greater wisdom, greater self-knowledge, and intense inner peace. There is nothing like trust in the divine. So make sure that if you haven't put this into practice, that you take time every day for this essential need for the human spirit. And when you do, you'll start to see the love appear everywhere in your life, because it resides in everything and it resides in everyone. Now, the moon is at 8° Cancer, opposite the sun at 8° Capricorn. So we leave the year with the sun in the sign that has been activated so dramatically in 2020 with the stellium on January 12th, that powerful 500-year event, and then the other stellium, November, December, that was between Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. That was a 4,000-year event. Everything was in Capricorn, and Saturn was involved in both, in all of it, and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So now we have a final lunation that activates the duality of Cancer and Capricorn, moon and sun. And it's at 8 degrees, the infinity number. It's actually the third full moon in a row at 8 degrees. And they continue actually moving into the next year. Now, 8 is our connection to the eternal. It shows, again, the universe that you are eternal. There's nothing to be concerned about regarding passing on to another existence, which is the ultimate move to another eternal space, but also just acknowledging, see, this is the thing, when we're in form, we are so engaged in the doing part that we forget the being part. And the being part is, I'm eternal, I'm divine. And that's our birthright for everyone. So this 8 Cancer full moon is reminding you that you are love, you are eternal, you are light. And so there are several transits that form sacred geometric relationships to this full moon. The first is that the moon and sun are forming a triangle with Uranus. Now this is really important because Uranus rules Aquarius, and we are now literally moving into the Aquarian Age. If you remember what happened on the solstice, when Saturn and Jupiter moved into Aquarius together and had a conjunction at 0 degrees. This is really powerful stuff. So Uranus, the ruler of that very age, is forming a beautiful triangle with the sun and moon. Sextile moon, trine sun. And this is a true invitation to follow your instinct into the age of Aquarius, to take risks, to open up your inner genius, to really accept all opportunities that come your way, and to honor your inventiveness, your uniqueness, your curiosity. Be curious, be inquisitive. Uranus helps you suddenly uncover missing links, insights that you never considered before, or that were dormant within you, right? That were pushed aside due to other responsibilities or fears of what they might uncover. Uranus says, to heck with that. We are looking at everything. Everything's on the table. And so you're much more open to sharing your feelings, because this is happening in Cancer, right? The sun and moon. Sharing your feelings in a way that you may not have before. So you're not withholding certain things. And it's a great time to release those habits, those paradigms that are not working for you. So again, Cancer, Capricorn, they represent that paradigm we are bringing into balance, where the Cancerian mother quality is balancing out with the Capricornian father quality. So the divine feminine, sacred masculine are coming into balance. So that eliminates the need to attack, to be in this paradigm of dualistic programming where I'm right, you're wrong, competition, let's go to war. This is all being dissolved by the sense of I am free to make my own decision. I'm not dependent on a government, a leader, a religious belief, a cultural belief to do whatever doesn't feel right to me. So this extends to everything, to your health, to your education, to your relationships, to your career, right? To anything. It is so exciting. So that means that we are now getting into an age of change and reform. We are looking at everything from a new, refreshing perspective that has no limits. Remember, the 8 degrees is the infinity. There are no limits. So this means your versatility, your ability to be open and inquisitive, your heightened intellect, your intelligence, the intelligence of the heart, your ability to look into the unseen, the mysterious, the esoteric, like astrology and numerology. And I don't mean in the old paradigm way where it's used to intimidate or bring fear or control, but literally the liberated astrology and numerology, right? This is what we really need to see. We don't want to get caught into that old paradigm of this is good, this is bad, right? This is literally what has destroyed our confidence in our intuition. So our inventiveness is dependent upon not being in that dualistic system where we're saying, is this good, is this bad? There is no such thing. There's only curiosity and presence, and is what you do with it. There is no such thing as I did the bad thing or I did the good thing, because either way you're learning. No matter what road you take, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you don't hurt others. That's the key. Hurting others, yes, there will be feedback that comes back. You can call it karma, whatever. So, but making your own decisions for you and exploring, there is no such thing as judgment, right? So, and judgment in itself is the old paradigm to begin with, because there's only understanding. There's only healing. Because when you feel judged and you're making decisions because you were judged by someone else, or you yourself are feeling guilty and judging yourself, that will not bring healing. The only thing that will bring healing is presence, understanding, and being the very thing that you feel you missed out on. So being love is the only solution when you were in hatred before. It is not to judge yourself for feeling that anger or hatred, whatever the case may be. It is to switch completely into another vibration, being love, and then everything comes from that. Everything you do, say, is coming from that beingness. And so this is the lack of duality that Aquarius wants us to feel. So not to get into the, oh, that was wrong, that was right, but okay, so how do you feel now? Do you understand? Good. Let's not judge. Let's move into a place of serenity, acceptance, so important to accept, and that brings the healing. That brings the shift. The Aquarian age is about the shift, the internal shift that happens every moment. So for all of us to have been here at this time, we have chosen to awaken to our true nature, that we are divine in human form. And in doing so, we are putting into action a plan that we had previously agreed to, formulated, intended for our lives right now. And increasing amounts of people are waking up daily to this understanding, the awakening to your spiritual nature. Now, this can happen slowly and gently, or it can happen intensely and rapidly, suddenly, right? It really varies. So this is the whole point. Again, Uranus in the Aquarian Age, it is about variety. It is about being open to any experience. It's a very galactic sign. So it's totally inappropriate for us to judge others on their pace of awakening, because there's no way to know what kind of path they have chosen for themselves, that they've planned for themselves, and how far along in that path so far they have progressed. We don't know that. So we need to trust that every human being is doing and being exactly what they are supposed to be at this time. And that whatever others think about them, they really are doing their best given what they have planned for this life. Okay, so our programming to judge is extremely strong. And in our world of judgment, we're encouraged to separate ourselves. And this happens in every race, every religion, every culture. It happens politically, it happens economically, it happens personally, right? When we live from our heart, setting the intent at least once daily to approach a situation from a place of love, surrendering to love, then we're truly being the change that we want to see in our world. We are literally putting that change into effect. So to be loving also needs to be part of our daily exercise. And Cancer is the sign of love, the mothering sign of the moon of love, nurturing. So it reminds us to consciously engage in being loving at least once a day, if not more, of course. When we do, the power of our individual energy field really expands. It becomes so much more effective, and it literally is sharing the gifts of the divine just by being in that place, that divine place. Now we have a T-square from the sun and the moon to Chiron. The moon is square Chiron. The sun is square Chiron, and T-squares are very activating. Chiron is what I call the sacred healer. So Chiron heals through love, and that is greatly enhanced in this moon, so in this full moon. So if you have any situation that needs to be addressed, have a protocol, have a way to feel that you can be open and vulnerable and allow that healing to happen. It can be many ways. It can be through therapy, through massage, just paying attention to unresolved issues, allowing them to just flow through you. And don't be hard on yourself. Again, that judgment. Just engage in loving conversations with those who really care for you, have your highest vibrational interest at heart, right? So you want that inner spirituality to awaken that will allow you to be fully conscious. Engage with people who can have loving conversations, right? Your inner spirituality is awakening, and it will require your full attention at this time. This is a time to also understand that there are codes in play that are helping you. And one of those codes is December 30th, 2020. And the reason is that that date, 12/30/2020, adds up to 10. So it's a 10 universal date. That is the official day, the universal day of the full moon. Now, what's so amazing is that 12, so December 30th, 2020 adds up to 10. So we've got the 30, the 20, and the 10 in that code, no matter what culture you're in. That's how you would write it, December 30th, 2020, and it adds up to 10. That means we are moving back. We're literally rewinding, pressing the rewind button and looking at the origin of where things have gotten out of control in terms of the judgment, the competition, the system of wanting to be in power over others due to the internal fear. right? So we are literally reversing that by looking at the origin 3021. So instead of 1, 2, 3, it's the end of the year, and it's like, okay, let's have a look. We're in Cancer, we're in love, we're in nurturing. How did this all happen? How did we end up at this moment right now? What is the juncture? What is the bridging into the next moment, this next year? What do we need to see? So this is something to really keep in mind. And again, it's not at all to judge. It's just to be open to see and look deeply and inquire where are the origins of how we are thinking about life and everything, where we're at, the decisions we're making in all parts of our life. How did we get to this place? And so the rewind button is very important during this full moon because of the numerology code. Now, it is a rewind button of love. And it is, 10 is instant manifestation, light and love, the wheel of fortune. It is a very, very lovely number for a full moon. 1 and 0 make up the computer code, make up sacred geometry, straight line and circle, divine feminine, sacred masculine. It's all there in the code, right? So we are totally intact. We don't have to fear that whatever we uncover or discover about ourselves is going to take us off track or anything. Whatever it does, it's going to awaken and set you free. And that's really the message, anyway, of the Aquarian Age and the Uranus moment here with this full moon. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, setting us free. So never be afraid to investigate, to inquire. And that's really the key message here. Now, another transit we have is Venus square Neptune. Venus, love, abundance, pleasure, beauty. Neptune, spirituality, dreaming, unconditional love. So the two planets of love are coming together in a square, which is very, very activating. And this means your internal urge to create and connect with the divine, to feel that love and to connect with others who are loving is very strong. It's an extremely creative moment here. You want to channel your energy into everything that brings you pleasure, joy, love, tenderness, affection. Be extra disciplined about what you value. This is a square, so you're being asked to step up and to take responsibility for what you actually value in your life, right? Otherwise, you will feel more uncertain and more insecure because Neptune can make things nebulous. So it's important to really trust your intuition. It is important to trust in Source being your source, right? This is the key to spreading the love and joy and pleasure that Venus embodies. Now, Mars is square to Pluto, so we have another square. And this is between the two planets that are co-rulers of Scorpio. Scorpio is another water sign, just like Cancer. So very, very deeply connected to the heart, your intuition, your feelings. And Mars fires you up with goal-directed energy. And Pluto empowers. Pluto purges in order for you to move into a place where you're in charge. You are taking control of your life. Nobody else is dictating to you what to do. That is Pluto. So this is a square. So it means achievement is one of the topics you're going to focus on. That inner tension that arises from a square between these two planetary rulers of Scorpio, and by the way, Pluto rules Scorpio now, Mars did before Pluto was discovered, means that you need to channel your passion into those projects that allow you to feel physical movement, creativity, to move forward with courage, confidence, inner fire, and concentrate on those goals. So it's almost like you're taking the Venus-Neptune square and trusting your intuition to move forward with what it is you really want to do. What is it that really lights you up? Not the, it was imposed on me, or I thought this was the way to go based on expectations. That is obviously out with the Aquarian Age. You're not succumbing to outside expectations. You're totally trusting that path that is lit up from your connection to your intuition, what you're sensing every moment. So if you feel energy pushing back at you as you're exploring what it is that lights you up, then all you have to do with this square with Mars and Pluto is to strengthen your resolve, because you have an amazing resource of energy and it can transform any situation vibrationally very rapidly. The 10 universal date for this full moon is also about instant manifestation and rapid transformation of energy. So you can move forward and succeed rapidly when it comes from a place of true joy, right? Also be aware that with Pluto in the mix, you are uncovering things that you were not aware of before. You are uncovering secrets, you are seeing the truth, you are setting the record straight, and that will set you free. That, again, is the freedom theme here. That quote by Paul Coelho, "A wise person is full of questions. A dull person is full of answers." When you are a wise person, you are not moving backwards. You're asking questions in order how to move into presence. When you are, what Paul Coelho says, a dull person, you have all the answers. And that means you're operating from the past, because those answers come from your past. So if you listen and ask questions, you receive divine guidance. So trust Source, trust yourself, because you are achieving what is planned. You are achieving the divine will, because everyone here on earth is actually assisting in the process of moving to an age of freedom. And no matter where on the spectrum you were born on, you could be born in extreme poverty, in unimaginable wealth. It doesn't even matter. Somewhere in the spectrum you were born, you've experienced trauma. Everyone has experienced trauma. It doesn't matter. That is a given to some degree, right? As you journey from having been born infancy into adulthood. No one escapes that. That is part of the school on earth to help us also feel compassion. When we're young, we can't deal with whatever trauma is happening. So it's too intense, it's too painful. So we bury it, we hide it, we disguise it, we conceal it in order for us to function. So it remains unfelt and unrecognized and undealt with. And in adulthood, unless it is seen, and again, Cancer is the loving, nurturing, just allow yourself to feel whatever it is. Unless it is seen and recognized and healed, it becomes the root of your life issues. And it creates a lot of stress, psychological stress, health stress, relationship stress, stress about how you feel about yourself, lack of confidence, right? And this is why we have this duality. The conflict between people, wars, nations, all of this comes as a result of this unresolved trauma within us. So take this amazing Cancer full moon, this amazing loving moment, to be sensitive to any needs that you have, to engage in self-care, so that you can then be a loving presence to others. Once you can completely forgive all others, and of course forgive yourself for anything as it appears in your life, and understand that your true nature is to be at one, indivisible, connected to Source, that is how love will inspire you to open your heart fully to that oneness, meaning that others are all part of you. That oneness totally eliminates the need to judge and condemn others. And remember, opposite Cancer is Capricorn, and the shadow side of Capricorn is judgment, power over others, right? It is the old patriarchy, top-down leadership. So once you totally feel at one and move into that womb of oneness, we all come from this womb, you totally realize that since we're all one, what you do to others is in fact what you're doing to yourself. And if there's anything about this Cancer full moon, it is to acknowledge that we are all love. We are all there to be inspired by that internal mothering instinct. Whether we're male or female, it doesn't even matter. It is the ability to love, to nurture, right? And love will dissolve those ancient misunderstandings which turn to so many challenging emotional reactions, hatred, resentment, bitterness, right? All those things that we can feel towards others, those feelings that we're still clinging on, even to this day, those will be dissolved. If you can imagine everyone being born as a baby, and you look into their eyes and you remember they were born sweet, they were born as children who basically just wanted mother's milk and nurturing. No agenda, nothing, right? That is how we want to see the world. That is Cancer. And that is truly, love is the only reality. Love is the only way out of any situation. And right now, as we're making this collective awakening, big time, it is accelerating, is intensifying in a magnificent way. We're beginning to realize that love is the only reality, is the only truth. So you want to be enchanted by that. You want to be entranced by that. You want to even understand more about the words that you're using. If you look at the word entranced, for example, it has the word entrance in it. Entrance with a D, entrance. And so it is being open, moving through that entrance, being awed, being in awe of the beauty, the love, being in love with life. So that's the message for this final lunation of 2020. And of course, you have Cancer in your astrology chart, you have numbers in your birthday, and if you're excited to explore your own star code, your Astro-Numerology birth blueprint, go to starcodeclass.com where I have a free masterclass for you. You can discover all about your destiny, your true purpose. You can discover what those numbers mean in your astrology and numerology, your birth name, and you get to understand others, and that's where the compassion comes in. So I wish you an incredible week, a wonderful holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. And I will see you in next week's Star Code podcast. Bye-bye for now.